मकसद ये था कि आप लोग जैसे सेमिनार sometime between 162 to 127
और उससे बेहतर लिखेगा जैसे
and longitude from is our globe, so we just extended the Rotor's phenomena is detected. Who defines the trigonometry first time, and then it comes to my knowledge that it was Hippocrates in 2nd century BC who defines the trigonometry. He was thought to be the father of trigonometry. So, in the classical Greek period, the Greek philosopher Plato wrote that the soils are equal in numbers to the stars. And for each soil there is a star, and from those stars the human beings are journeyed to the earth. Ancient people noticed that the rising and setting points of the sun and the moon and the visibility of the stars changes throughout the years. So all culture have long tradition of using astronomy as a tool of survival. For example, they use astronomy to navigate in space and time, to determine their calendars. So this is the oldest calendar recently revealed by the British archaeology experts. So this calendar was used by hunter-gathering societies dating back to the 8000 BC. Determine equinoxes and solstices. So equinoxes means that when the day and night are equal, right? And solstices. So we have two types of solstices. Summer solstices, when we have longest day, and in summer we have shortest day. And it is because the axis of the axis of the earth is tilted about 23 degrees. When the north hemisphere tilts towards the sun, then we have the summer solstices, and when it is tilted away from the sun, then we have the winter solstice. For the event in the Far East, they use the constellations to predict the return of the sun. And Babylonians, they are in monsoon zone, so they use these constellations to predominate the direction of the wind. And the 60 parts of time were first discussed by Babylonians. And for the Egyptians, they used these constellations to predict the flood in the Nile. And original Australians, they used the astronomy to find the immense breeding cycles. So ever since people were first wondered, the Earth's great significance has been given to the objects seen in the sky. So in case of Anka, each season was accompanied by the dark constellations, the constellation formed by the dark clouds in the Milky Way. So the animals see in the progression indicates event in the nature. When the constellation of Llama appears, so it was the time for the llama's babies, and so on. So some of common Chinese asterism, the yellow lines are grouped into the super constellations, dark warriors, azure dragon, vermilion birds. So by the 19th century, over 100 constellations could be found on various star charts. Since there was nothing to stop astronomers to form inventing new figures between the existing one. So, in a series of meetings, the International Astronomical Union in the 20th centuries fixed these constellations. There are 88 constellations according to their coordinates on the Celsius sphere. And the Greek word for constellation is Kratos of these 12 signs whose path intersects the dawn rising of the sun were known as zodiac. So, so in the apparent path of the sun, so we have a belt. In that belt, we have indeed 13 constellations, and out of 12 are called zodiac signs. So the constellation as described in Greek methodology were mostly God-favored heroes and beasts who received a place amongst the stars as memorial of their deeds. And the zodiac means in their language a circle of small animals. So instead of looking at the stars, so they look that the pattern made by the stars and the pattern made by the stars, they have associated those patterns with their God favored heroes. The zodiac, it is a belt-shaped region of the sky in the apparent path of the sun. Over the course of the year, the orbital path of the moon and major planets are within the belt of the zodiac. It is that belt, path of the sun. And the light yellow, it is the equator extended to the Celsius sphere. So if we look on the skies, we have these constellations of the zodiac. Leo, Virgo, Libra, and so on, Capricorn. These are astrophotos of the 12 zodiac constellations. So here is Earth, Sun, the apparent path of the Sun. On this apparent path of the Sun, we have this belt, and on this belt, we have these constellations, which are called zodiac signs. The zodiac was used by Roman era, starting from 300 BC. it's the Roman Empire. Their empire, our empire is sinking. Actually, the Roman inherited this concept from Babylonians. Rayleigh comet is a short period comet visible from Earth around from 75 to 79 years, and it is a picture of the Rayleigh comet on 8th March 1986. But if you look at this diary, which came out from the Babylonians, so they have talked about this Rayleigh comet. So although the zodiac remain in use in astronomy, the term and the names of the 12 signs of the 13 constellation in zodiac are today mostly associated with horoscope astrology. These are the zodiac circles, and the first one it is depicted on the ceiling of a pharaoh from in Egypt, and the second one is used by the Egypt by the Jews, and third one is we usually use nowadays. What is the geocentric model of the Earth? Geocentric model of the Earth that the model that the Earth is at the center and all the planets revolve around the Earth. It was given by Aristotle. And Philolaus of Croton, instead of the geocentric model, he proposed that there is a central fire at the center and all the planets revolve around this central fire, including the sun. So for Earth, there is an end counter Earth. And heliocentric model, heliocentric model means the sun is at the center and all the other planets revolve around the sun. This model was proposed by Aristotle of Samos, but most of his work has been lost, and what we know about this work is from this book by Archimedes. And his main work was to calculate the relative radius of Sun, Earth, and Moon. Hippocrates was a philosopher and astronomer in the 2nd century BC. So he was in the city Nicaea, which is in Anatolia region nowadays in Turkey. Hipparchus used mathematical techniques by Babylonian Newton of Athens, Aristarchus of Samos, and the Newton of Athens. His main work was about lunar cycle. He first time discovered that after every 19 years we have the same lunar phase. This is just the Babylonians. This is the main gate of the city. Babylon is reconstructed. And Archaeoastronomy, his main work was to calculate the circumference of the Earth. He first time calculated the circumference of the Earth. So Hipparchus used the work of Babylonians, Latin of Athens, Aristophanes, and sometime between 162 to 127 BC, Hipparchus drew up the first complete star catalog of the Western world containing the description and coordinates of 850 fixed stars. It is one of the oldest known attempts to determine the precise position of the fixed stars and their magnitude. This is the Celsius globe of Hipparchus. The Celsius globe is just like our globe. If we extend its radius to infinity, so geographic coordinate systems. So we have this great circle, and this is equator. So we have prime meridian, longitude and latitude, and longitude from east to west on both sides we have divided it into 180 degrees, and latitude from north to south we have divided it into 90, right, 90 degrees towards north and 90 degrees towards south. This is how we calculate the coordinates of any place on the earth. Now if we extend this, its radius, then we get the Celsius globe. So it is our globe, so we just extended the radius of the globe. And how Hipparchus' apparent magnitude works. So he gives magnitude 1 to the star seen after sunset. So it is the brightest star. And the second stars associate with them the magnitude 2. magnitude 3, and up to so on. So visibility of the star from magnitude 1 to magnitude 6. So he made a list of his major work consisting of 14 works approximately, but which is only known from references from other authors. Relatively little of Hipparchus' direct work survive into modern times. The only work survive up to the modern time is his commentary on phenomena of paradoxes and errors. Rotter's phenomena is detected poem, a practical manual in verses that teaches the reader to identify constellation and predict weather. The poem also explains the relationship between such as phenomena such as human affairs and agriculture and navigation. So, Parker's only work so far was the commentary on this poem, critical commentary. Because Hipparchus pointed out some mistakes in this poem because he was taking the readings by himself. So he noticed that there are discrepancies in the coordinates given by Eratus and which he calculated. So he written a critical commentary on that. And luckily this work survived. So after Iliad and Odysseus, the phenomena was the most. Iliad and Odysseus were epic poems about the Trojan War. So, what is known about Hipparchus' work today, especially about his star catalog, is known because of Al Majesty of Ptolemy. Ptolemy was a philosopher and astronomer in the second century AD, and in his book Her Majesty, there are many references to the Hipparchus work. That's why we know that the Hipparchus has some work about these coordinates of these stars. This was Greek. So in Greek, its name was mathematical syntaxis. This means that the mathematical compilation, that means the greatest work. And this greatest work was then translated into Arabic by the name of Al Majesty. And from this Arabic, it is translated into the Latin. And it is the first copies of that work in Latin. And this is the English translation. So if you look at these books are available. If you search in this edition, English edition, and you search for the Caucasus, you can find the references about this. But there was no clue about Parker's original star. The Fermi's Atlas. Fermi's Atlas, it is the second century AD Roman marble sculpture of Atlas holding a Celsius globe. First came to modern attention in early 16th century when it becomes a part of collection of antiquities in Firenze's palace in Rome, hence its name, and it is now in National Archaeology Museum, Naples, Italy. So this is the Firenze Atlas. So if you look at the globe, on the globe we have constellations, which are not given in terms of the star, but it is given in terms of the methodological figures. So it is the colored image of those constellations. Professor Schaffer is professor in physics at Lausanne State University. He studies those constellations, which is on the Celsius globe. And he reached at this decision the text of Hipparchus' long lost star catalogs may have been inspiration for the representation of the constellations on this Celsius globe. Actually, he worked out all the technical details and reached it at this decision. And he announced this in the meeting of American Astronomical Society in 2005. And this is the paper. If one is interested, he can look into this. But the story is not finished. So we have Codex Climacy, rescripts. The Codex is often used for ancient manuscript books with handwritten contexts. It is just like a modern book. It evolved from this Roman style wax tablet. So these are examples of these types of. So we first use this scroll, and from this scroll, then we convert it into these types of cards. Parchment is a writing material made from specially prepared untanned skins of animals. So we stretch that skin in the wooden frame and then prepare that skin for writing. First we use scroll and then we convert it ourselves to the codex. Folio is just a sheet of paper. On that sheet of paper we have 4 pages, 2 pages on the front side and 2 pages on the back side, folded from the middle. Lancets a page of manuscript either from the scroll of or from the codex from which the text has been scrapped or washed off so that it can be reused. So we may reuse those parchment because it is very costly and it is not easy to form those parchments. It is a collection of palimpsests manuscripts. So on this book, the pages have been erased and then they have rewritten some other text. So it has 146 pages. So on it we have different types of writing. Old Testaments, New Testaments, and some stories about Saint Peter and Paul and domination of the Mother of God by the mostly by Christian monarchs. So it is overwritten in Syriac. It says of Johannes Plymouth, and because of this, its name is Plymouth. So he was monk at Saint Catherine Monastery, Nicaea in Egypt, and he written on this codex in 5th or 6th century, and he is usually known as the Saint John of Ladder. So until 2010, this codex was housed at the Westminster College, and it was donated by the Agnes S. Lewis and her sister. So these two sisters, these are also called Westminster sisters, they are Bible scholars. And they traveled around Europe, Egypt, Palestine, and they are associated themselves with a church, and they are much associated with monks at St. Catherine Monastery. Actually, one of the folio was purchased by this, these sisters in 1895 and other 89 folios in 1900. And because of they are interested in Bible and the Bible text. So they have given this to the Westminster College, and it was listed for sale and Sotheby auction, where it failed to sell in 2009. Steve Green, he is president of Hobby Lobby, which is a retailer chain in America. He purchased that codex in 2010 and placed that in the Green's collections. The Green collection is the collection of the material related to the Bible and the Bible. Later it was placed in the Museum of Bible. The Museum Museum of Bible is non-profit organization run by the King. So there is an initiative program run by the Museum of Bibles to invite scholars working in this field. They contacted Peter William, Tyndall House of University of Cambridge as a scholar of Bible to look at this codex. Peter William gave it to a student. जैसे हम usually अपना काम student को दे देते हैं. The astronomical material was first detected in 2012 when one of his students pointed out that there is a Greek text underneath the codex pages. In 2017, the parchment was photographed with state-of-the-art multispectral imaging tool to reveal the underneath text. This multispectral imaging allows us to see beyond the limitation of the human eye using spectral imaging to capture valuable information across the photonic spectrum. So they take multiple photographs of the pages with different wavelengths. And they found that there is some material related to Eratus point of phenomenon. They further noticed some numbers appeared on the document that they thought might be coordinates of some star on the sky. Then that Peter William contacted Jessenberg, which is at French National Center of Scientific Research, to help them to identify these numbers. The researcher took 42 photographs and of each of the 9 pages across the broad range of wavelengths before scanning the photos with computer algorithm and picked out the text hidden underneath. So they found this yellow text, which are the coordinates of the fixed stars on the sky. This is deep test. Using a phenomenon called precision, which is the wobble of Earth on its axis as it rotates, reversing the time, the researcher would mount the stars of the constellation Corona Borealis back to the year when the luminars shone in the sky at the exact spot the hidden writing described. The date of the star original recording was 129 BC when Hipparchus is thought to have taken most of his observations on the islands of Rhodes. So this is the constellation Corona Borealis. Copied this video from the internet about the precision of the Earth as the Earth rotates, it wobbles. So this green one, the equatorial plane, and this dash, this is Circle is the apparent motion of the sun. So we have Celsius plane. So this is the belt of the zodiac, constellations around the zodiac. And if you look, this rotation is not smooth. The earth wobbles and it takes about 26,000 years to complete one cycle here. But knew about that there are some wobbling in the. Next, the researcher has to find out when the writing was done by dating the time, by dating the nine folios according to the paleography, the study of identifying the points in history by their distinct writing style. The scholar placed them in the 5th to 6th centuries. They may be from the copies of the Focus catalogs that were still being used more than 700 years. So these are the points came out of the archaeology side in Nicaea, Bithynia, which is the province of the Roman Empire. And on one side of the we have the picture of the king at that time, and on the other side, back side, it is the picture of the Paucus along with his Celsius globe. And they have compared those coordinates with the recent coordinates, and there is only 1 degree, about 1 degree difference between the calculation of Hipparchus, which was doing his work when there is no telescope. Telescope was invented after around 1700 years before his work, after his work. So these techniques can be used because we have thousands of codexes. So we can use these techniques and we can reveal many ancient data. And if you are interested, you can look into this field. And this is just how we project this globe to this. And get the Celsius globe. So the reference point in this Celsius globe is the point of intersection where we have extended the equator, we have the apparent, we said that this is the reference point where vernal equinox. And these are the longitude, we divided these longitude into 24 laws. And we have these latitudes, for latitudes, we have the degrees from 0 to 90.
स्टोरी क्या है? ये ब्रैकेट में क्यों है?
हाँ
ये ब्रैकेट में क्यों है?
हाँ ये सीक्वेंस में बहुत
सर एक क्वेश्चन है कि जो ग्लोब हिलेरियस ने जो ग्लोब बनाया था उसके तहत तो फिर अर्थ जो है वो सेंटर हो गया ना, और थोड़ा सा वो बिग बैंग की तरफ ही जा रहा है कि अब उसने रेडियस ऑफ अर्थ को एक्सटेंड कर दिया आपको इन्फिनिटी। तो बिग बैंग भी यही कहता है कि पहले जो मैस था वो अ, इकट्ठा था सारा एक जगह पे, फिर आहिस्ता आहिस्ता ये सारी कायनात फैलने लगी और ये मुसलसल फैल रही है। तो जबकि जदीद जो है हमें ये पता है कि जो सूरज है वो सेंटर है और अर्थ उसके गिर्द रिवॉल्व कर रही है। तो इट मीन्स कि जो हिलेरियस का जो ग्लोब है अगर इसको हम कंसीडर करें तो ये ग्लोब भी किसी सेंटर के गिर्द रिवॉल्व कर रहा होगा।
नहीं, हमने कहा है कि जिस तरह हम कार्टेशियन कोऑर्डिनेट लेते हैं, आपके पास प्लेन है, ये रेफरेंस पॉइंट है, तो हमने वर्टिकल लाइंस ले ली है, हॉरिजॉन्टल एंड वर्टिकल, इसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। ग्लोब में भी कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। हमने कहा कि ये आपके पास इमेजिनरी सर्कल है, ग्रेट सर्कल है, और इसको इक्वेटर कह दिया और कैलकुलेशन। हम उस झगड़े में नहीं पड़ रहे कि सेंटर में अर्थ है या सन है। हमने कहा इसको एक्सटेंड कर, ठीक है। अब जैसे हमें नज़र आ रही है, ठीक है, ये इक्वेटर है, इसको एक्सटेंड कर दिया, जो अपेरेंट पाथ ऑफ द सन है उसे एक्सटेंड कर दिया, और दोनों जहाँ पे प्लेन इंटरसेक्ट किए वो हमारा पॉइंट हो गया, ठीक है, सेल्सियस। उसी तरह हमने कहा कि ये आप लॉन्गिट्यूड ऑफ 180 डिग्री की बजाय हमने कर दिया कि 0 to 24 आवर्स, और इस सिर्फ हमने कहा कि अब हमने ये फिक्स कर दी। अब हम कोऑर्डिनेट्स फाइंड करते हैं कि ये स्टार्स को देख रहे हैं, ये कहाँ पे अदर पॉइंट है, उसके कोऑर्डिनेट्स।
सर वो
बिग बैंग का मुझे नहीं पता, फारूक साहब।
तो बेसिकली तो आप ये कह रहे हैं ना, जो सेलेस्टियल ग्लोब के ऊपर वो जो कोरोना कॉन्स्टेलेशन थी, उसने उसी के लिखे थे ना। फिर इन्होंने क्या किया, इन्होंने बैक ट्रैक किया कि लाइक
इन्होंने ये किया कि जो मटेरियल हमें मिला उस पे जो रीडिंग्स हमें मिली, ठीक है, और उस पे ये भी मिला कि इस टाइम जो है ना लुमिनरीज हमने देखी हैं उसमें, उन्होंने उसको बैक ट्रैक किया कि ये कहाँ पे जाएंगे। फिर उन्होंने देखा कि यार ये वक्त है और ये रीडिंग कहाँ से ली जा सकती है, ये इस जगह से ली जा, उस वक्त और उस जगह पे कौन था, उस वक्त और उस जगह पे वो है पास जो अपनी रीडिंग।
वो जो आपने स्पेशल किस्म की कॉन्स्टेलेशन बताई है कोरोना, उसी की बात
हाँ,
है
ये
ना?
रही
वो इस तरह की थी, और उसके जो उसने
ये कोऑर्डिनेट्स हैं।
तो जो उसने उस टाइम पे कोऑर्डिनेट लिखे थे, इन्होंने पीछे कैलेंडर पे जाके उस जगह पे
उसको
जाके
वेरीफाई किया,
तो ये वन
ये
एविडेंस
वही थी।
6th सेंचुरी के बाद वो जो आप कह रहे हैं कोडेक्स के ऊपर किसी ने कुछ नहीं लिखा।
हाँ?
ये आई गेस बिफोर क्राइस्ट है ना, आपने लिखा है
बिफोर क्राइस्ट है ना, उस
2
कोडेक्स के
century।
ऊपर आपके पास पहले लिखा गया मटेरियल ओल्ड टेस्टामेंट का, न्यू टेस्टामेंट का, फिर उसके ऊपर स्टोरीज लिखी गई सेंट पीटर एंड पॉल की, उसके बाद जो सेंट ऑफ लैडर है जो 5th और 6th सेंचुरी में था,
उसकी लिखी।
हाँ, उस जो मोनार्क था उधर मोनेस्ट्री में सेंट कैथरीन ने, उसने अपने खुतबात लिखे।
6th सेंचुरी तक ना।
हाँ, तो उसके बाद ये उन्होंने कहा कि इसके नीचे वाली राइटिंग ये
6th सेंचुरी के बाद वो रीयूज नहीं हुआ।
6th सेंचुरी के बाद रीयूज नहीं
वो
हुआ,
वैसे ही पड़ा रहा।
वो फिर इन्होंने परचेज किए, फिर उसके बाद अभी टेक्नोलॉजीज एडवांस हुई तो उन्होंने वो लिखा कि अंडरनीथ टेक्स्ट।
बिल्कुल इसी के साथ की एक एग्जांपल है, वो लियोनार्डो डा विंची की एक पेंटिंग है जिसका हिस्ट्री में बड़ा जिक्र मिलता था, लेकिन वो पेंटिंग कहीं नहीं थी मिलती। तो अभी ये जो इंटरनेशनल मैथमेटिकल यूनियन के प्रेसिडेंट भी हैं डिपॉशी, उन्होंने ब्राज़ील में अभी थी ना, उन्होंने लेक्चर दिया था। वो लेक्चर यूट्यूब पे पड़ा हुआ, उन्होंने डिफरेंशियल इक्वेशन और ट्रांसफॉर्म यूज़ करके वो उसी की ऐसी तरह की टेक्निक यूज़ करके एक करंट पेंटिंग थी, उसको देखा कि पहले लगता था कि वो जो है ना वो कैनवस पे पहले कोई और पेंटिंग थी जिसके बाद ये पेंटिंग है। तो जब उसमें जाके देखा तो पिछली पेंटिंग जो मिसिंग पेंटिंग थी वो पूरी निकल आई और उस पर वो पूरा वो पूरा उनका लेक्चर उस पे IMU रियो डे जेनेरो 2018 में कोई जाए तो वो मिल जाएगा पूरा।
वो इसी तरह है ना कि वो फिर एक्सपेंसिव होगी ये चीज़, ठीक है, वो उसे फिर रीयूज करते हैं, रीयूज।
हाँ वो एक कैनवस बनाना आसान नहीं होता, तो उसको रीयूज किया, उसने कहा ये बेकार
रीयूज किया। रीयूज ये स्पेक्ट्रल इमेजिंग कोई आसान नहीं है कि आपने सिर्फ फोटोग्राफ लिए, उसके ऊपर आपको एल्गोरिथम्स लगाने हैं, कंप्यूटर प्रोग्राम्स लगाने हैं, वो कोई 50-60 लोगों की टीम मिल के लगाती है।
बल्कि वो जो लेक्चर दिया था उन्होंने वो तो एज एन एप्लीकेशन ऑफ डिफरेंशियल इक्वेशंस के बताया था कि इस काम भी आ सकती है।
हाँ तो वो मॉडल्स उन्होंने वो
सर तकरीबन 19th सेंचुरी के अंदर जो है ना फ़लस्तीन के अंदर बुक ऑफ इनोक फाउंड हुई थी, ओल्ड टेस्टिमेंट की, बाइबल का ओल्ड टेस्टिमेंट। अब उसके अंदर जो है जो तबाही थी इसकी बेबीलोन सिटी की, उसके बारे में मिलता है कि उसको तबाह करने से पहले वहाँ पे जब हज़रत जिब्रील को भेजा गया तो उन्होंने वहाँ से एक बच्चे से पूछा कि मुझे अपने किसी बड़े आलिम से मिलवाओ। उसने कहा क्या काम है? उसने कहा मैंने उससे ये पूछना है कि जिब्रील किधर है। तो आलिम, उस बच्चे ने कहा कि ये तो मैं भी बता दूंगा। उसने अपनी कोई मट्टी के ऊपर जो है ना कैलकुलेशंस की और कैलकुलेशंस करके कहा कि जिब्रील जो है ना आसमान में है ना ज़मीन में है। फिर कुछ कैलकुलेशन की, उसने कहा कि ना या तो तुम जिब्रील हो या मैं जिब्रील हूँ। तो अब वो जो बेबीलोन के लोग थे, चूँकि वो अब यहाँ पे आपके लेक्चर में भी हमने देखा कि उनका एस्ट्रोनॉमी के ऊपर उनकी बहुत ज़्यादा ग्रिप थी।
अभी तक हम
बिल्कुल।
यूज कर रहे हैं वही 60 पार्ट्स ऑफ द टाइम।
तो
क्या अब मुझे उस किस्से वो ये है ना कि अब इसका वो ऑथेंटिसिटी हमें देखनी पड़ती है। अगर हम वो टेक्नोलॉजी और उससे चलते हैं कि क्या ऑथेंटिक है चीज़ें नहीं हैं।
अभी तक सर इन्होंने सारा पार्ट रिवील किया है।
सारा पार्ट नहीं, अभी इसके बाद उनका और पेपर है, थोड़ी सी चीजें और रिवील की हैं, ठीक है।
अच्छा उसका सिर्फ रेफरेंस था।
ये सेंट कैथरीन मोनेस्ट्री है
कायरो
में सानियाल में, और ये इम्पोर्टेंट है, ये जहाँ पे है 5th to 6th सेंचुरी। और ये अगर आप देखो ये वो मिसाके मदीना है, ठीक है, जो हजूर पाक ने किया था उस वक्त मदीना के लोगों से, ये भी उधर से,
ये भी उधर से ही मिला
हाँ,
है।
ये भी हाँ। और ये मोनेस्ट्री इन्होंने बनाई थी, ये आप कह लो कि ये बर्निंग बुशेस, ठीक है, कि जो हजरत मूसा का था कि आग लगी हुई थी लेकिन वो बुशेस जल नहीं, ये भी उधर,
ये उधर अभी भी है
हाँ,
प्लांट।
ये मोनेस्ट्री बनाई उसके
ऊपर गई थी, लेकिन ये प्लांट अभी भी है जो भी
प्लांट
आपने
अभी भी,
दिखाया।
ठीक है। और ये वो 10 कमांडेंट्स हैं जो कि डेड सी से मिले, वो भी उसके करीब ही। जब हजरत मूसा उधर पहाड़ियों के ऊपर गए थे तो उसमें वो उन 10 कमांडेंट्स के साथ आए थे कि ये जो रूल्स क्रिश्चियनिटी के हैं,
लेकिन ये बाद में लिखे होंगे ना।
हाँ ये बाद में लिखे हैं, ये देखो ना,
हाँ ये बाद
के
बाद में होंगे।
हाँ बाद में लिखे हैं ये, लेकिन ओल्डेस्ट मतलब केव्स ऑफ द डेड सी, तो वो डिस्कवर करने वाली चीज़ है।
सर बार्कस का काम जस्ट एस्ट्रोनॉमी में ही मिला है या इसके अलावा भी
नहीं, बार्कस का जो हाँ एक तो वो है प्रिसीजन ऑफ इक्विनॉक्स के ये वो है, दूसरा उसका ट्रिग्नोमेट्री। क्योंकि ट्रिग्नोमेट्री आप जब सेल्सियस स्क्वायर उधर कर रहे होते हो तो ये कार्टेशियन कोऑर्डिनेट नहीं, आपको एंगल चाहिए रेडियस, ट्रिग्नोमेट्री, ठीक। उसके बाद उसके काम है जिस तरह ये क्या कहते हो कुछ और भी है, कॉम्बिनेटोरिक्स में भी उसका काम, उसके सीक्वेंसेस जो कि आप polygons and non-intersecting diagonals आप कितने बना सकते हो, faces
इन
3
जियोमेट्री
हैं, 5 हैं, 6 हैं, 7 हैं, 8 हैं and so on।
पेपर लिखते हैं उसको वो 100 पेपर शाम तक मुझे चाहिए वो आधे घंटे में
और वो प्लेसमेंट भी नहीं आएगा।
और उससे बेहतर लिखेगा जैसे हम
सही
ये गारंटी है।
हाँ, और वो सिस्टम में भी नहीं आएगा, वो उसको भी बाईपास कर देगा।
सेमिनार देने का मकसद ये था कि आप लोग जैसे सेमिनार दे रहे होते हैं उसको चेंज करो।